Chapter 18, Kakahoya and Vali. Cush looks at Mamaline. The other side of nowhere, that don't make no sense. Mamaline sits there about to answer Cush and hears. Kakahoya? Kakahoya. Mamaline acts as if she didn't hear Vali calling her. Kakahoya! Mamaline turns and yells back. Vali, Vali, oh Vali. Don't you see I'm telling Cush a story? What do you want, man? As she turns back around, she sees Cush snickering and grinning. Boy, what ails you? Cush smiles. Nothing, Mamaline. Mamaline takes a deep breath. Now, where were we before we were so rudely interpreted? Oh, yeah, hours had passed before Wanyanyekevu caught up to Jayla and Anaya. A sight of relief rushed through his body. Okay, you're safe, he said, looking around. Where's Abooksigun? Anaya felt bad because she yelled at Abooksigun and started crying on Wanyanyekevu's shoulder. I didn't know those were the last words he would hear from me. Wanyanyekevu smiled. If it were words from the heart, it was words from Sabaoth. Sometimes kind words are not what some of us need. Stern words from the heart and out of love can help us just as well. Now cheer up and get ready for a fight. I might be ahead of them by a few hours or maybe not. Wanyanyekevu's battalion started showing up in groups, giving him updates on what they had seen on their way there as they tried to conceal their whereabouts. Wanyanyekevu asks, What do we know? One of his men answers, Well, the signal is blocked from the Rio Grande to Lautel, so no communication. Pointing at the destroyed bridge. Humans can't cross this bridge, but the demons might. They are divided with one group headed here, and another headed toward Lautel. One of Wanyanyekevu's top lieutenants, Nea, said as she pulled up a map. The group south of us, divided here, in Lake Charles. One group headed down Interstate 10, and the other broke off and headed south on Highway 27, so we think they are on Highway 82 by now. We also think that they think we are going to Lafayette. Wanyanyekevu took a seat and thought for a minute. Everyone who's going to Tallulah, take off y'all tracking device and hand it to Jayla and Anaya. You guys send your pets to Lafayette along with your unit. If they don't know we're going to Lafayette, they know it now. Once you get there, find a location, leave your trackers there, and make it look like a campsite. Then backtrack back to taking out his map. Lautel, once there, gather the rest and meet us at. Wanyanyekevu's heart tugged at him. He thought about the many years he followed Sabaoth and did as he was told, and all the years how he helped people find their way to Sabaoth. His heart pounded like a drum. It felt like fire, as if he knew what Sabaoth wanted. His trip to Arizona, his wife, his kids, and all these years. Years of bliss and joy, and then suddenly, a chill came over his body. Wanyanyekevu started to shine, and everyone saw the glow like the glow that shone over Friedrich. Nea, my dear sister, we are the children of the Almighty. I need you to reverse your thought pattern. We are the children of Sabaoth and whom we serve, and he has put you in charge of our plan of action, for we are going to attack. No more running. It's that time. For those whom he wanted to go to Tallulah are there already minus these few. We must meet the enemy face to face and destroy them where they stand. Nea smiled and ran off. Wanyanyekevu turned to his captain. Take 20 men with you and take these children home to Tallulah. Jayla and Anaya, grab your friends from Africa. It's time to fight alongside your father. Would you do me the honor of assisting me in battle? 'Cause we have El Paso to deal with, and Phoenix is getting ready to attack our home. We will take care of Phoenix when we leave here. Jayla and Anaya said simultaneously. We would be honored. Nea came running to Wanyanyekevu. To battles it is. The closest ones are about 45 minutes away, but the group coming by Highway 10 is near Lautel. Still, we cannot contact them without compromising our plan. Wanyanyekevu said. Gather all the speedster. Nea continued. Those headed our way, we must destroy them first and then head up north toward Lautel. Wanyanyekova yelled as loud as he could and with pride and courage. Impy! His men felt great honor as they stood in their stance, and no one said a thing. Yusisahau! Wanyanyekova shouted as everyone shouted back. Never forget! Wanyanyekova instructed the captain to send his unit and the children to Tallulah, saying, Make haste, unless you want to miss out on all the action. Return to us near Lautel when you're finished. Everyone else jumped on their sky craft with Jayla, Anaya, and their pets marched beside them, heading southeast, stopping at the edge of the broken bridge waiting for the first sight of the enemy. Anaya grabbed her san as she shouted to her unit. Everyone grabs your san. Pour out the content and rub it on the paws and jaws of all your animals and your weapons. As Anaya took command, Jayla was impressed and just watched in awe. A tear falls from Jayla's eyes. Do as she says. She commands her battalion. Wanyanyekova shouts before he leaves the group. I am used to telling my people what's going to happen before it happens, my gift from Sabaoth. But here, now, there's no communication, so now it's you and Sabaoth. Let him guide you and let us fight in the name of the Most High. Just as he said this, at a distance, they could hear a buzzing noise slowly approaching them. Wanyanyekova and his men stood in front of the previously blown bridge, and a few feet behind them were Jayla and Anaya and their men. Wanyanyekova men were in a V-shaped formation on the bridge, exposing Jayla and Anaya's presence. Thousands upon thousands of minions of all sizes walked on top of each other, and moved recklessly forward them. There were a handful of humans, hundreds of Abenians, and a few giant demons who followed behind. Seeing Wanyanyekova in front of them, one of the demons commanded, Surrender or die! Wanyanyekova laughed. I'm going to have to take the second choice, if you don't mind, and see indeed if you can kill me. He shouted back to his men. Iwa! Followed by his men, who shouted back, Yusisahau! And attacked the herd as those that leaped across the broken bridge. The larger demons made a bridge out of themselves as the rest climbed over them. The speedster drove through the crowds with their samurais dressed with the blood from their sands, destroying thousands as they crossed the makeshift bridge, where Jayla and Anaya picked them off with their hyenas. Wanyanyekova and his men jumped off their sky craft, picking off the rest of the men with no effect at all. The greater demons fought as hard as they could just to be treated as pawns in a game of chess. Wanyanyekova yanked a man off his feet and threw him into some stones. After 2 hours of interrogating him, Wanyanyekova looked the man in his eyes. Truth is truth, and lies are lies, but your heart is filled with enough evil for an entire nation. Taking his grandfather, old Colt 45. I have never shot this gun once in my whole life until now. Your hatred is the same kind that killed my people of old. A reprobate hatred. And shot the man in the middle of his forehead. Wanyanyekova and his men jumped on their sky craft, and Wanyanyekova shouted to Jayla and Anaya, Met you near Lavel? Anaya shouted, Yusisahau! As they all raced to Lavel. As Wanyanyekova got closer, he kept calling his men near Lavel until he heard from them, because the signal was still blocked. Once there, Nea took her post and started mapping out a plan while the men gathered Jayla and the others traveling afoot. Wanyanyekova. It was Obey and Friedrich. Go ahead. Wanyanyekova replied. Obey reported. Phoenix and El Paso are headed our way. The estimated time of arrival is 36 hours for Phoenix to reach us. For some reason, they are going extremely slow. They have large mechanical equipment that looks like cannons heading our way. They are slow but steady. Nea heard the conversation. Let's go through their equipment and jam their radios before they even know it. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Wanyanyekova smiled. Let's do that. But first, we must defeat these small groups before they discover where our people went. Rushing toward the enemies as their team was just a few miles behind them, waiting for their signal. After a few hours, they attacked them from the rear, and Wanyanyekova attacked them in front, Within 30 minutes of the battle, Jayla and Anaya, alongside the groups in Lavelle, flanked them and slaughtered the entire army. One Inyekova shouted. Full speed ahead back home, we have more coming. Naya called out. We will come across the army in El Paso before we reach home. One Inyekova thought about it. Send scouts and speedsters to see what we're up against. Naya sends 5 men ahead of them to scout the enemy headed toward Tucson. One Inyekovu, racing toward home, looked for Naya, seeing her with a straight and focused face. He pulled up beside her. Kandaka! He shouted. The kingdom of Nubia, centered in Sudan and southern Egyptian Nile valleys, the ancient kingdom of Cush. Cush was based throughout Nepeta, and the word Kandaka comes from the feminine European name Candace. The Cush kingdom, also known as the Nubian civilization or Ethiopia, talks about the guardian of the treasures, Kandaka, the queen of Ethiopia. The first to hold the title of Kandaka in the history of Sudan is the first queen, Kandaka Amani Rinis, or Amani Rina, the wife of the Meroitic king, Tritakas, who succeeded him after his death. Amani Rinis was the king's first wife and called her the Kandaka. The title during her reign became a new meaning, the Great Queen. From this day forward, we shall call you Kandaka. As he departed, she wept with honor. Kakahoya, now, it's been over an hour, now, and tired of waiting. Vali shouted as he had a look of frustration on his face. Kakahoya turned to Cush. Anyways, meanwhile, in Tucson, Daniel began speaking in a tongue no one knew except Frederick. Frederick wrote what was said instead of interpreting it aloud as commanded, and told everyone to write it down and not repeat it on any device, not even verbally. So, the men started writing and passing the notes around as quickly as possible. The message read, Never fight within 20 feet of the enemy, and if anyone does, the outcome is Sabaths. Mamaline saw the frustration on Vala's face as she spoke, trying to detect what he wanted. She stopped and turned to Vala. I can't feel you. Cush started smiling, and Mamaline asked. There you go, grinning and skinning again. What you and that old man got up y'all sleeves? Cush just smiled as Vala walked her to the house. Vala had cooked a large meal and laid it on the dining room table. I told myself I wasn't going to heat it up, no mo. But I did. As Vala sat Kakahoya at the table, Cush stood and watched as Vala nervously said, Bo. Loving the way you make me feel. Before, during, and after a conversation. It's great. Do I have to stop searching for love today? Question. Are you here to stay? I've felt this way before, with a few. Now it's you. They were lovely women, again. Now it's you. Hoping the feeling is the same, hoping you are true. Only time will tell, if things will remain. Or if you will go and be no more. If it continues, I want to tell you something special. On our wedding day, it's simply I do. Small in stature, strong of heart. You know that's what I like. Large in knowledge, something I crave inside. Huge in spirit, a sparkle in my eye. Hope you understand these lyrics. Seeing a lot of things the same. We've been through the same. Love the same. Looking for the same thing. Would you like to carry something for me? My last name. Want to be more than a friend one day. A lover, a friend. A husband. Mamaline knew what Vala was reciting, and she got nervous and started crying as she finished the poem. So, you want to be my beau, the one that only my heart will only know. Entering into the depth of one another's soul, as we bond. And continue to grow. Understanding the meaning of love. Through the words we share. Leaning on one another when the load is more than one can bear. Reading your heart with the look in your eyes. Never allowing our love to die. Standing by my side through the storm of life. For you have chosen me to be your wife. For now and forever. Until death do us part. If you can promise that, you can have the key to my heart. You ask? If I am the one. Is this time for real? Only if we really understand how we feel. The love we share is not yet a physical touch. So, are you sure that it is me that you love so much? I never knew true love. I never thought it was for me. Now you tell me that it could be a chosen one even for me. That it is you, my love, so true, that I have waited so long to embrace. Standing at the altar now, love fills that space as we stand face to face. Friends and family had been hiding so long that they were tired of waiting. Cush knew it but had forgotten, because he had gotten caught up in the story. He signaled them as Vali took Mamaline inside. The people had gathered around outside. That's when Vali took Mamaline outside, and everyone cheered. Vali got one knee. So, you want to be my beau. The one that only my heart will only know. Entering into the depth of one another's soul, as we bond and continue to grow. Understanding the meaning of love. Through the words we share. Leaning on one another, when the load is more than one can bear. Reading your heart with the look in your eyes. Never allowing our love to die. Standing by my side through the storm of life. For you have chosen me to be your wife. For now and forever, until death do us part. If you can promise that, you can have the keys to my heart. You ask if I am the one? Asked. Is this time for real? Only if we really understand how we feel. The love we share is not yet a physical touch. So, are you sure that it is me that you love so much? I never knew true love. I never thought it was for me. Now you tell me that it could be a chosen one even for me. That it is you, my love, so true, that I have waited so long to embrace. Standing at the altar, now love fills that space, as we stand here, face to face. Cush looked at Vali. I told you to end it at wife. But no, you talking about until I no longer have life. Mamaline looked at Cush. Boy, what you had something to do with this. He smiled and then heard Mamaline say, Vali. Yes, I'll marry you. Cush ran back, hugged her, and left as he said, What happened to Abooksigun? Vali looked at Cush in frustration, and Mamaline turned to Cush as she smiled at Vali, saying, Don't worry, I will not be long. She said to Cush, Always remember one thing. Sabath can make nothing into something. The land in which one Inyekava lived was called No Man's Land, long before he arrived there, or simply nowhere, and Abooksigun ended up on the other side of nowhere. Then she turned to Vali, see, not long at all. The entire area celebrated the engagement of Vali and Kakahoya. They danced and enjoyed the night as Cush tried to teach Vali how to write poems. Look, you messed up that last part. Everything else was alright, but you don't add sadness to a love poem, man. Cush looked at Vali with a smile as he mocked him. Until I no longer have life. Please, listen to some of my ancestors' poetry. Music is like a woman. Music is like a woman, it'll make you do things that you never thought you'd do. I'm talking to all men, not just a chosen few. Music, it'll make you say things you mean to say. Do things you supposed to do, it won't let you lie. Believe me, it'll even make you cry. You'll be surprised what you'll do when you listen to music. Now, look into a woman's eyes. Music is like a woman. Find yourself buying things you can't afford, spending money you don't have. But you won't care. 'Cause in your mind, her love is what you long to find. It'll always be there. The beauty of music is worth every penny. Music is a beautiful thing. Sent from up above, it'll make you look for love. It'll make you sing, and women will make you do the same thing too. A woman with music on her mind will stop time. Believe me, eternity will unfold, and love will begin. So, grab hold, and listen 'cause love has no end. So, if that perfect woman is for you, this is what she'll do. No matter how strong you think you are, no matter how much pride is in your eyes, She'll even make you say, I do, and you will surely be surprised. 'Cause she can just look into her eyes. Brothers, music is like a woman. Vala tried to say something, but Cush continued. How about this one called, Could This Be a Dream? I often ask myself if this could be a dream. After so many others, it would seem to be just that. A dream. Thinking deep within myself, will I go through the same mess as I did before? Having someone walk out of that door. Those doors that lead straight to my heart. Just to search for another. For selfish reasons, will this love only last for a season? Hell, I don't know. Only time will tell. One thing I know, I will try and try, until that one person opens my eyes. I know that many have been hurt before. I too have refused to talk to some, building up a wall as high as the sky. Until I realized, I can't hide the way I feel, the way I live, the way I love. But all the other times, I have seen what I didn't like, and it all ended up in a fight. Pain, and loud cries. Yes, I have seen those things, and act like it wasn't there. I will be honest this time. Relay all my feelings in a way that we will both know if it's true love. I will know if this love will stay. Now, I said that to say this. She likes what I like, she loves what I love. And that includes the Lord. She's from the south. Knows how to tame her mouth. Thinking not yet knowing, if I will take a journey with her, explore her love. And see if it's from above. I think I'm falling in love. That is what it seems, but could this be a dream? Vala stopped Cush. I know what you mean, but it came from my heart and not what I wanted to say because I meant it. When you get as old as I am, death means nothing but death. Here's one I wrote last night. Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? Angels in the night, singing, dancing, rejoicing. Because we met. Do you hear what I hear? The laughter, the thunder, and lightning are the songs they sing. As they look upon us in awe. Two in love, two as one. Those two. You and me and you. Do you see what I see? Cush smiled. I like it and I do agree with what you said. If it comes from the heart, it doesn't matter. They both enjoyed the rest of the celebration. The end.